Code Red, Luka Doncic is officially a Los Angeles Laker, and this is not a drill. In a shocking league-altering move, Doncic has been traded to the Lakers in a three-team deal involving the Utah Jazz, with Anthony Davis heading to Dallas. This might be one of the most unprecedented trades in NBA history. Superstars rarely get moved in their prime unless they push for it themselves. Kareem forced his way out of Milwaukee in the 70s. LeBron left for Miami in free agency and later returned to Cleveland. But this is different. Reports suggest that it was actually the Mavericks who approached the Lakers with a simple question: do you want Luka Doncic? And of course, LA's answer was a resounding yes. So these are my instant thoughts on the deal. Starting with Dallas. The first thing I thought is, what on earth are they doing? Because not only do you have Daniel Gafford, who's been playing just fine, but you've also got Derek Lively, who is going to come back at some point. I think this is going to mean that Gafford might get moved in the coming days, or maybe not, because Anthony Davis likes to play at the 4, and if they go Gafford and Davis with Derek Lively coming back in the playoffs at some point, that could be their path forward. But other than that, I'm really not sure what is going on, because Luka Doncic is a top 5 player in the NBA right now, no debate. And to trade him in his prime without him forcing his way out is ludicrous. Nico Harrison had a reason for the trade. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance to win. We're built to win now. And in the future, and to add to this, AD has already waived his trade kicker to help the Mavericks cap situation to make more moves. And if you're like me and have no idea what a trade kicker was, it's a contractual clause in the NBA that pays a player a bonus. If they are traded, the bonus is usually a percentage of the player's remaining salary, but it can also be a fixed amount. So by AD waiving this, they don't have to pay him that money, meaning they can use that extra money to make another big deal. Anthony Davis is all about winning in Dallas already, but I've got to get to my thoughts on the Lakers. This move was not about LeBron, it was about Luka Doncic. The Lakers want him as their star moving forward, and at this point, I wouldn't put it past them to trade LeBron, because I don't believe that trading for Luka Doncic is their plan to try and win this season, as they're only thinking about the future of this franchise. But this wasn't some elaborate plan made by the Lakers, because it was Dallas who offered them the trade, and if you get offered Luka Doncic, you better make it work, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the rest of the season. Right now, the Lakers are short on bigs, so I would be expecting them to make a move in the coming days for another center, because right now, they just have Jackson Hayes. I made a trade video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about the Lakers trading for a big, and how reports surfaced that they didn't want to use that first in a trade. And maybe there's some talks about this going on for a little while, because that would make sense. It wasn't that the Lakers were being cheap, it's because they wanted Luka Doncic. So with those quick thoughts said, let's just look at what the starting lineups would be. For Dallas, that now likely running Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, Anthony Davis, and Daniel Gafford, allowing AD to play his preferred form. Then the starting fire for the Lakers is looking like it's going to be Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jackson Hayes. So as I said, up front is going to be an issue for the Lakers right now. But if they want to save the season and have a chance to contend this year, which I believe they definitely do, I'd be expecting them to make another trade in the coming days for a capable big. But I sit here and wonder, what are the Dallas Mavericks thinking? Luka Doncic just put you on his back, took you to the NBA Finals, and only fell 3 games short of winning it all, and then you trade him midway through next season. Yes, Luka often starts seasons out of shape, but once he plays himself into shape, which doesn't take that long, he's a bona fide bucket getter who can not only orchestrate your entire offensive system, but can give you 40 on any given night while being an elite rebounder for his position. I just can't believe that going to the finals then gets you traded the following season. If Luka didn't get hurt, he had a real chance at the MVP this season, and you made all these trades to build your way up to a championship led by Luka, and then you throw it away in a heartbeat. I understand that a guy not putting in 110% on his body could be frustrating as a GM, but this is a one-of-a-kind talent. Luka Doncic's don't grow on trees, and I 100% disagree with what he had to say at the end of that statement, as he said we're built to win now and in the future. I'm sorry, Nico Harrison, but I think you just traded your future. Anthony Davis is just as injury-prone as Luka, and his prime years are fading, and fading fast. The Mavericks obviously have a lot of trust in Kyrie Irving, and although he's been very good this season, you're asking him to do a hell of a lot come playoffs, and I'm just not sure if this is going to work. I'd be shocked if either of these teams make a deep playoff run now, although if I had to say which team's more likely to go deep into the playoffs after this move, it would be the Lakers. But man, This is the most shocking move I think the NBA has ever seen. I'm trying to go back through my brain right now and remember some of the trades and the hype that was around them when they took place, but nothing. And I mean nothing compares to this. Luka Doncic was a 50-50 to win the MVP last season, and then he gets traded only a year later without him forcing his way out. I instantly feel like this was a grave mistake, but only time's gonna tell, and who knows, maybe Kyrie and AD work out, but all I can think about is, man, you just traded Luka Doncic. For the Lakers, this is an absolute no-brainer, because even though they were looking pretty decent as of late, I'm not sure they believe they're real title contenders as currently constructed. This is completely unscripted right now. And I just saw another thing that got added, and it's a report saying that a rift had been forming between Anthony Davis and Lakers management after his sit-down interview with ESPN, where he asked for them to trade for another bid. He took a leaf out of LeBron's book and thought that they would just make a good trade for him, but instead they flipped him. That's absolutely wild. And what's even more absurd is how LeBron apparently had no idea the Anthony Davis trade was in the works. AD's currently not even with the team, as he was out for the game against New York. That happened a couple hours ago as he was back in LA resting. I've got no idea what this means for LeBron James, because there's two ways I could see this going. The first way is they're going to have Luka and try and compete this year and for the future, which would see them obviously making a trade for a big. Jackson Hayes is not good enough to be your starting center against a guy like Jokic, but maybe this means LeBron's gone. There's lots of people speculating that the Golden State Warriors are going to jump in and trade for LeBron James, and at this point nothing would shock me. When I first saw this, I thought Shams was hacked, but as soon as I saw Bobby Jones confirm that it was true, I honestly had no idea what to think, and I'm probably going to look back on this video with very different opinions once we actually see it in action. But man, right now, I am in such disbelief for how on earth the Mavericks could do this. I know that they've actually been interested in Anthony Davis for a couple of years now, as I remember seeing reports that Dallas were interested in Anthony Davis a couple of years back, and they finally got their guy, but at the expense of their guy. Luka and LeBron together on the court would be pretty cool to see, and if they could just get somewhat of a competent big, I actually kind of like this Lakers team. And I've got to throw this in here as well, as this was the Blazers bench reaction when they heard the trade was going down mid-game. But let's summarize these thoughts. I can't believe what the Dallas Mavericks just did. Luka's one of the best players in the NBA, and you trade him on the spot for someone half as good as he is, if we're being honest. But for the Lakers, I think they just saved themselves. They now have a franchise guy for the future. And I mean, who doesn't want to come and play with Luka Doncic? I think they're going to have no problem getting free agents in the coming years. And as I said, if they make a trade and somehow get a decent big, they're not only going to have a chance to win it all this season, but they also are going to have more than a good chance to win in the coming years.